Hi, this is Rob Sullivan. Last week, you may have read the post that I put out there about a dear friend who, and the dream that she had. Now, usually I don't repeat, especially not in such close proximity, but I do want to share that story for those of you who missed it, because I know not everybody likes to read long posts. So I will summarize what happened. It's a really good friend of mine that I work out with at the gym all the time. She's in really good shape. She's about my age. If you looked at her, you'd think, wow, she's about 10 years younger than she really truly is. Good eating habits, overall healthy, no general risk factors for anything. Well, she had a dream that caught her attention. And in the dream, she was standing by an unfamiliar ocean. And it seemed a bit ominous at the very first part of the dream. And then it got calm. And in the next scene, she remembered standing next to a lifeguard. And she was telling me this during one of our workouts. And how the dream had really got her attention, and it upset her in a weird sort of way. What happened is she was standing next to the lifeguard. She was looking out, and the seas were very calm, and she was thinking, oh, great, the danger's gone. And he wordlessly communicated to her, no, that's not true at all. The worst is yet to come. And in that moment, he took off running and headed away from the water toward what was like a 50-foot wall of granite blocks that were, if you picture large square boulders with seaweed and plants, coming out between the seams. That was where he ran. And he was going so fast, she had a hard time catching up. But when she got to the wall, this huge wave hit, and she could see the water pouring through the seams. And so, and she realized in that moment they were at a peninsula of sorts, because as she looked into the distance in front of her, she could also see waves crashing on the other side of the island. So she woke up. In a lot of dreams, she will remember right when she woke up, and then by the time she brushed her teeth, she'd forget about it. This particular dream stayed with her all day long. Well, fast forward, she went to the dentist, and one of the questions that she wanted to ask the dentist was why the tooth that he was working on was not the tooth that necessarily hurt. And he said, oh, that's referral pain. It's like what happens, if you're having a heart attack and your arm hurts. He said, sometimes pain doesn't show up in the exact same place. And during her appointment, she did feel some tension in her upper, up by her collarbone. And she did have some nerve issues that were reminiscent of something that had happened to her back like a year and a half before. So it got her attention, but it went away, and she went about her afternoon. Well, that evening, as she was walking to dinner, that tension came back. Now, it was not pain. It was, the kind of thing that you could easily write off as a muscle cramp. But she did a really important thing, and something that we've been talking about in many of these videos and posts, and that is the idea of trusting your intuition. And so what she did was she literally, when the feeling came back stronger, she's of course remembering the dream, just like the wave came back more powerfully after that period of calm. That was what really got her attention. And she said it had it not been for the dream, she wouldn't have paid attention to it. She would have blown it off. But she literally stopped in her tracks on the street, and she checked in with herself. Rather than just overthink it, she asked herself a question and stopped and waited for the answer. And the question was, is this something that I need to get checked right now, or can it wait? And the answer immediately came back, you need to get this checked now. So she headed over to the immediate care facility nearby. And short version of the story is they realized that from an EKG that her heart was not getting enough blood. And one of her arteries was partially blocked on the outside wall of her heart. Again, much like the symbolism in the dream of the water crashing through the seams on the outside wall away from the water. So it was really amazing how what happened. And she told me when we talked about it later, she absolutely firmly believes that lifeguard was, a spirit guide who was basically trying to remind her, get her attention, and say, something important is going to happen and you need to be vigilant. And fortunately she was. So now, the doctors think it was an absolute fluke occurrence, because it wasn't something, like I said, she has no risk factors at all. And all of her other arteries were absolutely clear. So it's not like she had partial blockages everywhere and huge cholesterol issues. Not like that at all. So she's really grateful that she tuned into her intuition. And that's a key lesson for all of us. If you have something that's going on, it doesn't matter what it is, stop, check in with your intuition, ask that question. It literally could save your life. And I'm so glad she did. Dreams, you can get a message from anywhere, just tap into it. Even the dentist, in a way, gave her the message. He said, he gave you because that symptom, he said, that even, it was a throwaway line for him, the way he said it, referral pain, like if your arm hurts when you're getting a heart attack. there were all these little signs that added up to her paying attention to something that otherwise she would have ignored. So intuition is life-savingly powerful. Tune in.